candidate. He was also a member of the Constituent Assembly, which gave us the new Constitution, 2005. We also have Honorable Stephen Birahwa, Member of Parliament for Buliisa County, both outgoing and incoming. He's also the chairman of the Committee on the National Economy. You can send him a text message to 7197.
I've just survived the vote recovery.
All right. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about corruption. The retirement of Justice John Bosco Katusi. He clocked this week. He clocked the mandatory 65 years of retirement, but not before, showing NSSF MD, former NSSF MD, handing him a 12 years prison sentence. He was once quoted as saying that corruption will be hard to eliminate from Uganda, given that only small fish are caught and the big fish or the crocodiles are left to swim. Honorable Kamya, is this a good thing that we should be retiring judges at 65? Or?
Yes, first of all, I want to congratulate Justice Katusi for his service to this country so far. And although he's retiring, the service is not ending. It's probably just transferring to another a sector, or whatever you want to call it. And yes, I think that people should be retiring by 65 for many reasons. One, they should make room for others. I mean, it's not the availability of positions are not, open-ended. There are people who want to come up, and for me, I agree that people should retire and move on and go and serve.
Why don't
do other things?
Yeah.
And go and do other things.
Yes.
Everybody, including the president. I think people should, by age 65, they should move on and leave space for younger people to carry.
But let's talk specifically about the judiciary. Not all positions are filled normally, and Justice Katusi has been seen as an icon of the anti-corruption fight. He's been a bit strong, so there are concerns that while he's living at 65, he could have done a better job, or maybe been pushed to the Supreme Court.
I think
what retires them at age 70. Some people think they'll bring someone who's softer. So
a principle is a principle. Once you start personalizing,
is he qualified to go to Supreme Court now?
Well, they retired at age 70 in the Supreme Court.
I mean, a principle is a principle, and institutions should be strengthened. When you start looking at individuals, then you lose the principle. So really, people should retire, but people who have done a good job, like Justice Katusi, should be emulated. I mean, they should have mentored some people, other people who want to be like them, and if the public appreciates what they are doing and applauds them, then there should be somebody out there who will want to walk in the footsteps of such a person. And I think that he set a great trend in fighting corruption, especially with the last his last assignment, his last presiding over Jamwa. He made some very strong statements. One, that I wish there were more of you before me.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they are not there before me. If they were there, I would have shown them that corruption is not a good thing.
Some people think this government is soft on corrupt officials. Do you think they'll use the chance to appoint someone softer?
This government is soft. This government promotes corruption. This government promotes corruption. We know, I mean, the small fish, it depends on who you are, really. There are people who get away with murder, and there are people who are sacrificed. And there are, it's all arbitrary, really. I mean, look at, for instance, the Rubaga North election,
Yes.
Somebody just gets gazetted within a wink before the...
That was an emergency.
Yeah.
That must have been
emergency? Was somebody dying?
They must have seen something that we cannot see. We ordinary mortals cannot see.
Yes, Edmond, I think Justice Katusi should be congratulated for his good finishing at that level. He has said, to me, legacy is more important than the time somebody serves. And the message he has left that you tamper with the government money, you can earn yourself 12 years in prison. I think that is not, it's quite deterring, and it's a lesson for others. I personally believe in competitive meritocracy. And I actually don't only think that judges should be the ones to be considered whether for retirement. I think all public servants at age 45 should have performance contracts.
Yes.
Performance contracts are very important. You only deserve a renewal of your contract.
Is that annually or every 5 years or something?
It could be 5 years, it could be 4 years, depending on the kind of work you're doing. If you're saying judges who are serving 5 years contract, it could be 5 years. Why am I saying this? It's not enough to say that everybody who is in public. I hate this old mentality of permanent and pensionable. It's wrong. It's misplaced. Its time is over. Actually, I'm against this early retirement of what I would. Those who can still add value after 45 and deserve it and can perform should be given another contract, and it's the next contract which should lead to whether they should have another contract or not. So I not only for judiciary, but even
across
for the permanent secretaries, even for the other people who are in government institutions like the authorities, we need not to overprotect people on jobs even when they're not delivering.
Well, let's look at the US, talking about the judiciary. The US, it's open. They had an old senator who was, I think, 98 and was still head of the Senate.
Yes, but
that's about 10 years ago.
You see, if you compare our institutions, our public service, some of these countries, it's a tall order. What makes a good judge, what makes a good judiciary, it depends on so many other factors. Who is on the bench, for example, if you look at who other people are on the bench. In Uganda, we are really coming from very far. Some of these institutions of ours, until recently, when we've seen appointment of young judges, the Kriawires, this lady, Ojo Vundeje was among the very young ones who came first. You know, until we see that kind of trend, it's something new. We cannot compare immediately with the United States, but it's important that those who have performed deserve a renewal of the contract.
Honorable Rwomushana.
Across the board.
Justice Katusi did what he was supposed to do to dispense justice. That is to convict the guilty and set free the innocent. And that was his job.
Yes.
Yeah. So they brought him suspects who were presumed innocent. His duty was to prove them innocent or guilty. And he did it. Of course, I would be extremely very disappointed if he convicted the innocent so as to appease the public.
Right.
But I don't have those facts. I have attended the court before, and I've seen people stealing, people who stole phones, convicted 5 years. Sentenced 5 years, just stealing phones.
Yes.
I know cases of assault 3, 4, 5 years. Now someone steals 3 billion, or is said to have caused the loss of 3 billion,
yes,
and 12 years.
That's lenient.
I don't find.
Should have been in 40 years.
I don't find that very serious.
Comes out as an old man,
like in prison,
looking for his grandchildren.
I don't find that very serious.
You think should have given 40 years?
And then for Chieye, you must refund 100 million shillings
out of
10 years at that old age. Now this one is yes.
Oh, you think Chieye was too harsh?
I mean, he's old.
Yes.
Extremely very old.
He's about 65. No, he's about
more than that.
He's about 50s, in his 50s, I think.
Yeah, more than that.
You
give him
not extremely too old.
That's not too old.
There are many things he can't handle. Now you give him 10 years, then you also order him to refund 100 million
when he's not working.
But that's when, and yet the loss, his loss is around 100 million, 120.
Right.
Yes.
Refund.
Yes. His was around 120 million. That was the offense, the loss.
And when he comes out,
and he's to pay 100.
When he comes
now,
out.
yes. And this one, the loss is more than 3 billion.
Yes.
And there are even more other fires, by the way. There are more other fires. And yet his punishment is 10 years, and yet he's young.
And refunding nothing.
And he's refunding nothing.
It's not consistent.
So I'm not excited about these speeches about the big fish. We can go and pick them. But that he has gone, those ones who have been hiding, who have been holding back these big fish are going to bring them. Because probably they were fearing him. So they are going to bring them, and you will see the Mpuma case, this one of former boss of NSSF, who was given them, who was fined around 100 million. You remember that case? It was a lot of money, about 500 million shillings, and they asked him to pay a fine of. So we need to punish them big. Because 10 years, if they gave you now, the moderator, 10 years to go and rest in Ruzara, and you leave your 3 billion on a fixed deposit account,
you come back. You can come back.
I'm not even very sure that with that money he can't come back town and do 1 or 2 things.
What do you mean? Take an underground tunnel.
They will escort him. Because remember the time they took Jim Ways, they had to wait and then work on the toilets, work on what. Then when
the prison was not ready for
when they were sure that they had done everything, then he came.
And this is the only prison I've had saying that they asked him to. They said, why don't you ask for bond so you get out of prison? And he said, no, I need an extra day to relax here. He's the only prison I've had saying.
Yeah, he relaxed. Then you have the whole family of the head of the state going to see him, taking him Rwombo. They took from Rwombo, so we need to arrange to organize
another exaggeration.
Another mode of it. But this thing is happening.
He's your opponent.
Members of the first family went to see him.
No, they did. They took him Rwombo and so we needed to rearrange the punishing mechanism. Because like the Supreme Court, I don't see why these judges shouldn't face justice. They are reviewing the judicial system in Italy. That if you are a judge and you cause loss, you should pay. How can the Supreme Court sit on this case to interpret whether the IGG has powers to prosecute? But they have been waiting for Justice Katus to go. Now they will bring in someone who is going to relax them and then begin warning them. You see, you store, but you see, you helped in the bush war.
You don't think that should be considered at all?
This one is now going to come. You wait for the next judgment.
Right.
You store, fine, but you did well in the campaigns.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about the International Women's Day. Honorable Betty Kamya, the theme was Act Now, Promote Maternal Health. Is the government doing enough for the women?
No, it isn't. But I want to appreciate the campaign because it's all around us. I think it's very audible. It's very visible. Everybody has come in to talk about maternal health budgets and campaign, cervical cancer and mortality rates. So while government is not yet doing enough, I want to commend the activists for raising the flag.
Yes.
It's now an issue that is familiar to many people, to many ears. I think that's a lot of activism that has been done. And then what follows great activism is action from government. I heard the First Lady was attended a function they're called White Ribbon Alliance. White Ribbon Alliance, and she promised that she's going to push for. The more people, the more activists that we get, and really a lot of activism has been done by WOPA, by many women organizations. Now almost everybody knows statistics like 16 women die every day, the equivalent of a kamunye crashing every day. So a lot of activism has been done.
Is the government acting? Is it doing well enough on that side?
Yeah, actually, in Parliament, before we went for elections, we are rolling out a very ambitious program related to health infrastructure related to maternal health and maternal health itself, with some support from the World Bank. The activists in Parliament, including ourselves, at one time had refused to pass any budget until there is more finances in the direction of maternal health. I think we are moving in that direction.
And mainstreaming it's no longer a women's issue. It's a national issue. I think it's mainstreamed.
Let's talk about education.